Okay, well, I'm going to start with our intros. Thank you all again for joining. Um, we are really excited to have you here. This is a live version of the Fundraising Superheroes podcast. For those of you who are not familiar, it's a show we produce here at Driven, where we have candid conversations with nonprofit professionals on topics around fundraising, marketing, and so much more. So if you are interested in learning more about our podcast and also some of the other amazing things we do here at Driven, we have a full suite of software to support your marketing, communication, and fundraising needs. You can give us a visit at trustdriven.com. So today, as you guys know, we're here to talk about TikTok. It's one of the most downloaded apps on the App Store. Everyone is talking about it since it took the internet by storm back in 2020. And now the question on everyone's mind is whether or not their organization should have a TikTok, right? So if you are considering joining the app, we're here to help. Julia was so gracious with her time, and she's going to give us some tips. If you're not familiar with Julia Campbell, she is the president of J. Campbell Social Marketing, and she's also the host of Nonprofit Nation and a digital marketing and online fundraising strategist. She increases the clarity, confidence, and capacity of nonprofits in the areas of social media marketing and online fundraising. And we are so lucky to have her with us today to discuss whether or not your organization should consider TikTok as part of your marketing strategy. So thank you, Julia, for joining me.
Thanks, Sabrina. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so we're going to get into some questions I have prepared. Just so everyone knows, we will be doing a Q&A at around 3:20. So if you have any questions, you can post it in the chat. There's also Q&As in the Zoom webinar feature, so feel free to put them there and we will get to them. So to start off, do you believe there is a space for nonprofits on TikTok?
Absolutely. I believe there's a space for nonprofits everywhere that we want to go. And I know we're going to get into the how, but this is really the why. So if we're talking about statistics, TikTok has 1 billion monthly active users as of January 2022. It was the most downloaded app in the App Store on the iPhone in 2021, and it was the most popular overall app downloaded globally in 2021 and 2020. So it's really eating Meta, Facebook, Instagram, you name it's lunch. Now, I mean, the thing that I think people get hung up on, and I want to address it, is that we know the app is popular with people in their teens and early 20s, but because it's not as sort of time tested as maybe the more comfortable platforms for nonprofits like Facebook and Instagram, and because the users are so young, nonprofits hesitate to maybe get on board because they might not see like the ROI, the return on investment immediately. But I think the truth is, building an audience on TikTok, first of all, it's very easy to do because the audience on TikTok is very generous and they're very engaged. They don't just doom scroll. Like there's no doom scrolling on TikTok. Okay. They don't just go on it and hate scroll like we kind of do on Facebook and Instagram. They are there to like and comment and share and use hashtags and engage. And it's just a very different vibe. And I think it's perfect for nonprofits. And I also think it's really a way to kind of future-proof your organization, because a lot of nonprofits come to me and they say, our donors are getting older. How do we reach different demographics? How do we reach a younger donor base? Or how do we reach younger professionals? And the thing that we need to realize is that we're dealing with, pretty much 5 or 6 distinct generations right now. And we need to be planting the seeds with the younger generation. We need to be relevant. We need to show them that nonprofits have something to offer, even if they can't provide immediate financial support at the moment. So I'm not saying, don't do your major gifts program and go on TikTok, or don't write grants and go on TikTok. But I think I see it as planting the seeds for future generations. And I also want to mention that trust in institutions is down. So I read the Edelman Trust Barometer every year, and 50% of Americans don't trust nonprofits to do the right thing. And I think with younger generations, what we're seeing is that they don't think institutions necessarily, they don't need to support institutions. Like if they want to help homeless people or people experiencing homelessness, they will just go out and make some sandwiches and bring some coats. Like they don't see it as like, oh, I'm going to do a fundraising drive and give them money to an institution. We need to explain the work that we do and the vital services that we provide. And we also just need to make that bridge with younger people. And, personal connections really at the heart of TikTok. I think it makes it an ideal platform for nonprofits.
Mm-hmm. We talked about this a little bit offline, but it is such a great place to have conversations. I know when I first joined, you kind of get fed all the memes, but people are talking about really serious topics on TikTok, and people are really pushing the boundaries of what it means to create content, because you have to be authentic. You can't just like copy and paste things and throw them on the app.
No, absolutely not. And you have to create the content that is specific for TikTok, and you have to understand the TikTok audience. So I know that a lot of people take their TikToks and put them like on Instagram or something. That's something you can do. But you can't take your 5-minute Facebook video that's about your board and your organization and put it on TikTok. It's not going to work. And authenticity is the name of the game. People really value, just people sitting in their rooms and their phones, or like sitting in their offices and talking about things that matter. And sure, there's editing and there's music and it's so easy to do, by the way. It is the easiest thing. You don't need to get a video editor. You don't need to be a video editor. It's all inside the app. I mean, it's all designed for these quick edits and these quick, kind of changes. And I think nonprofits are scared because what we're used to doing is cutting and pasting our blog everywhere, or cutting and pasting and promoting our donation link everywhere. And we're not used to kind of creating content for content's sake, which is really what TikTok is. It's almost like it's more generous than other platforms, because people create content not really with any end game. Of course, we want to go viral, we want to have 1 million followers, but that doesn't necessarily get you anything at the end of the day, unless you're going to monetize it or get sponsors. But I think that it's interesting. It's just marketing in its pure form. And nonprofits they don't really know what to do with it, because they cannot, like you just said, cut and paste from other channels into this platform, because it's so different from anything else.
Mm-hmm. And we've been talking a lot about how it compares to the other platforms, because even I believe, like, I think this is going to change the way that people tell stories, because it's such a specific culture that you have to be in it. Like, people can tell automatically when you're posting just for the sake of posting. Like, there's almost like an etiquette you have to follow on TikTok.
Yes.
Is there anything other than that creative side that you've noticed that differs it from like Facebook or Instagram?
Oh, so the reason I really enjoy the platform is that the users have a lot more control over the algorithm. So on Facebook, on Meta, on any of the Meta properties, on LinkedIn, on Twitter, the algorithm really does determine what you see. And if you're like me, you get kind of tired of your little bubble. So Twitter, I feel like I log in, I follow thousands of people, I see the same 5 people. LinkedIn, very similarly, certainly like Facebook, Instagram, I've just been spending less time on there, but I see the same people over and over and over again, because if you only see the same people, you like that, and then Facebook sees that, and then it keeps showing it to you. But on TikTok, the primary feature is the For You page, which is really, I mean, you can honestly spend hours on there. It's like an endless feed of videos, but it's tailored specifically to you. And when you respond positively to a video, this encourages the algorithm to include the video in more users' feeds. But what TikTok does, what I feel like is very interesting, is they're not going to show you the same stuff all of the time. They constantly want you to find new people and discover new people. So for nonprofits, it's a great place to be exposed to a wider audience, because it's not that bubble. Like, if TikTok only showed the same 3 people in your For You feed, you would not want to go on there. But they're expanding it to other accounts, other interests, like things based on the hashtag, things based on the behaviors of the accounts. So they're really giving more visibility to people that are not necessarily the biggest players. And it's all, I mean, their algorithm, nobody really knows, the social media secret sauce of TikTok, but it does seem to me that they want you to see more new things every day rather than get wrapped up in this bubble. So that's helpful for nonprofits that want to get exposure to more and different people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the opportunity to go viral, it's like everyone has equal opportunity.
Yes, that's how I
Yeah,
feel too.
it's so unique.
Exactly.
Like I've seen accounts with 5 followers get video views like over 100,000 video views, which is one piece
Yes.
of content. It's
Yep.
absolutely insane.
Mhm.
Um, do you find that there's content that specifically does really well in the app? Is there a theme, or is it more trying and seeing what works?
Yeah, so this is also the challenge for nonprofits, because if you look at the most popular categories on TikTok, it's really entertainment, dance, pranks, fitness, home renovation, beauty, fashion, recipes, life hacks, pets, things like that. So what I try to say to my clients is, entertainment and dance does monopolize a lot of TikTok's users' time and interest, but it is clear that they're willing to branch out. They're willing to spend time watching videos on a broader range of topics, especially nowadays. So I think that while it got its start and it's still popular, short clips of dances and short clips of pranks, and something with surprise always works, something that's like kind of shocking and surprising. But I do think that nonprofits can use this as a way to highlight their stories, their beneficiaries, share educational content, provide a look behind the scenes. So, a lot of history museums, a lot of museums, when their doors were closed, they began highlighting interesting things in the museum when the doors were closed, or highlighting like different pieces of the museum, or jumping on the various trends and creating videos around the trends. So I do think the educational side of TikTok is kind of taking off. And you can share shocking statistics. You can share a story. You can share something that maybe like maybe a different perspective of the work that you do that people might not know, because they're definitely, we were just talking about this, they're definitely willing to explore deeper issues rather than just dancing and entertainment.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And the other thing that I hear a lot from nonprofits who want to get started, whether it's trying to decide what content to post, when to post, the third biggest issue that I've been seeing is just time. People feel like they don't have the
Yes.
time. A lot of organizations already are putting their resources in so many other places. So, do you feel like this needs a full-time person? And how can nonprofits fit TikTok creation into their strategies?
So I teach the 4 pillars of social media management. I teach this to my students and my clients. To succeed on any platform, you need to, one, have time for research and listening. That means going on the platform, following other accounts, looking at what they're doing, seeing what's working, what's not working. You need to spend a lot of time with research and listening. The second pillar is content creation. So you do have to have some time to spend actually creating the videos, the content, and posting them. The third piece is community management. So on TikTok, this isn't as big, I think, but community management really involves addressing comments, addressing questions, dealing with trolls, and just being a part of the community, not just posting and leaving. Because a lot of people, like if you ever see like how Lizzo deals with her comments, positive and negative, she responds to almost every comment. It's probably not her, it's probably, whoever, her assistant, I don't know. But she always responds to every comment, and that's going to help keep that video relevant, but it's also going to show there's a person behind the account. And then the fourth pillar is measurement and analysis. So if you don't have time to actually look at what's working and what you're doing and how you can improve it, then it's just, you're just going to be spinning your wheels. So if you don't have time to do those 4 pillars, you could do it in 20 minutes a day. Like I definitely think it could be done in 20 minutes a day, but those are just the 4 things that you absolutely need to get done. And what I say to nonprofits every time they come to me and they say, oh, should I be on Clubhouse? Should I be on Instagram? Should I be on this? Should I be on that? I say, well, you can't just say we have a social media strategy. It has to be a platform specific strategy, because each platform is so different. It's so different. If you want to be on multiple platforms, you have to have a separate research strategy, content creation strategy, community management strategy, and measurement strategy for each platform. And if that's just not possible and you don't have the bandwidth, then either something has to come off your plate or you do need to hire a full-time person or a part-time person. It just depends on your goals and who you're trying to reach and what you're trying to accomplish, and whether or not all of these social media tools can really help you get there. So if you're doing marketing, that's one thing. If you're trying to target young people, absolutely, you do need to probably explore TikTok a little bit. But, if you're just completely stretched, totally thin, small organization, you'd rather focus on calling donors and raising money that way, then do that. But have this at least on your radar so that you ensure that you're not irrelevant in 5 years when there's the next platform coming along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, spending time on the app is so important. And
yes, just watching.
Oh, you have to. And like, I remember when I started off in social media, I had that same misconception that I'm like, oh, we have to be on every single platform. And it was really overwhelming because it ended up being like taking one piece of content and just putting that, copy and pasting the caption and the content on every platform. And it just wasn't working.
I think the trend now is quality over quantity. Like if you look at, if you really look at any influencer, like think of influencer celebrities, they really focus on one platform or one or two platforms. It's either they're on Instagram, they're on Facebook, they're on Twitter, or LinkedIn maybe. But I think nonprofits need to be doing that same thing. Like you do not have to be everywhere. You don't have to be everything to everyone. And you have your email list, you have your website, like you are accessible to the masses. But if you really have a service or an offering that is visual or lends itself well to video, then definitely be on Instagram, be on TikTok. I remember when stories came out, Instagram stories came out, and my friend John Hayden was like, oh my gosh, you have to be on Instagram stories. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so scary. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to do it. I just watched them for a week. I just watched everybody's stories. And then I started to feel like, okay, I'm just going to do it. Like, I'm just going to try to do it. And now I love stories, and now I feel very comfortable with stories. So like anything else, you really need to you need to do that research and listening time to become comfortable with a new platform. And obviously follow the early adopters. Charity Water's always an early adopter. Greenpeace, always, ASPCA, just, the big charities are going to be the early adopters. So follow them and see what they do and see how they use it. And you'll get some inspiration.
Before we get into questions from the audience, so if you guys have anything you want to ask, feel free to type it in. I'd love to know, like, where is the opportunity to fundraise on TikTok? Because we talked before we went on air about some fundraising features, but they only seem to be available for like the big charities. So how do
So I think first and foremost, anyone that's not on TikTok, you do need to build a following first. It's like anything else before you can really start doing fundraising. So I would spend a lot of time building your community, educating them, talking to them. And then what works on TikTok are challenges. So there was one charity, one of my favorites, One More Child. They are on TikTok still. And she was trying to convince her boss, to the woman that's their development director. She was trying to convince her boss to let her keep their TikTok account because the big boss did not see the value of it. So she set up a challenge, and she said, if I can get 20 donations, my boss will let me keep the TikTok account. Like, I know everyone, we want to do great stuff. We want to support the kids. We want to support this organization. So if 20 people can just give $1, I'll be allowed to keep this account. Of course, she raised like $25,000, but she didn't have the sticker. So she just used it as the link in her bio. So the ways that I've been seeing it for organizations that don't have access to the official sticker is putting the link in your bio, making it, of course, not to your website. Go to the donation page. The donation page, do not go to your main website because you'll lose everybody and no one's going to try to figure out. Go to the donation page. And then the other way is text to give, because people are on their phones a lot. And this is really big in the UK and Europe, text to give. People hold up a sign, or they put in, the little they put on the caption, or they put in a little box, the text number, text love to donate $5. The key with fundraising on TikTok is, first of all, keep it small. You're not asking for $20 on TikTok. You are asking for $1. Like $1 equals one meal. $2 plants a tree. That's what works, because we're trying to just build up engagement and get these donations. And then you can build a relationship with these people later. And you can ask them for money later. The other thing with TikTok, the donation button, is that they have the option. If you do get the donation button, I think you can apply. They're really rolling it out very slowly, which I don't know why. Maybe they don't want the entire app to become inundated with solicitations, but they're rolling it out very slowly. It's not available like it is with Facebook and Twitter. Facebook and Instagram. So I would apply for it, but I would really you just have to have a good case. You have to have a really good case, and you have to have a very compelling call to action. And I would just continually tell people, $1 really helps, $2 really helps, and just show them the impact. That's the most important thing. Show them where the money's going. If you can tell a story, if you can show the work that you're doing, the after school program or the farm or the museum, whatever you're raising money for, show people that and say that, join us, join our movement, join our coalition. People on TikTok are very generous, actually.
Oh, they are. So many people are just really interested in making a difference. And there's a lot of messages on there.
Yeah. And I would encourage people, and, I would say, if you can't give money, heart our video, share it, because get our message, spread our message far and wide. Because Isabel, my daughter, she doesn't have a credit card, like she might want to donate, but she won't be able to, but she still can make a difference by sharing it with her friends and sharing it far and wide. So there's ways to make a difference without making a donation. And then that's going to create this positive feeling, so that when she's older, hopefully she'll remember that feeling, and she will, when she's able to financially make a donation, she can.
Mm-hmm. So we have a question in around promoting events. So has anyone found success using TikTok to promote an event for their nonprofit?
I don't know, promoting an event, like an in-person event where you buy tickets? Because it seems to me that a virtual event would do better, because TikTok's going all over the world. It's not hyper local, unless you use a hashtag, maybe that's like hyper local. But to me, promoting an in-person event on TikTok, unless you were getting a lot of local people to share it, it would fall on a lot of ears that are not going to respond to it. Because if I'm in Boston and your event's in, Minnesota, I'm not going to be able to go to it. If it's a virtual event and it's open to everybody, that's completely different. I think you could promote it on TikTok. But in-person events that are ticketed, you also have to understand the TikTok audience. They're much younger. Mm-hmm. They are not signing up for webinars. They're not necessarily going to galas. I think that sticking to Facebook and LinkedIn is fantastic. LinkedIn is fantastic to promote events.
Yeah, they did clarify it's a fundraiser happening in person. So would you still suggest to try to use TikTok, or maybe stick to digital?
I would have an option that people could give online. So I wouldn't direct people to the event. I would talk about the event. I would talk about the purpose of the event. I'd go behind the scenes. I would show exactly what's happening at the event, but I would focus on the purpose of the event, not the event itself. Like, what is the money being raised for, and why should people participate? And hey, if you can't come to this event in person, you can still give $5. Here's the link. The link is in our bio. That's how I would use TikTok. Selling tickets it's not the best. It's not going to be the best avenue for that.
Okay. Can you give more examples of content that people can use on TikTok? Yes. Specifically for an organization that serves children or another vulnerable population where confidentiality is crucial.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. So in that case, you probably have to enlist staff, or you have to do it yourself. And I just want everyone to know that I started my career as a development director for a domestic violence program. I've worked in rape crisis centers, and I've worked at an organization that helps survivors of sexual exploitation and sex trafficking. And I'm well versed in confidentiality issues. And in those cases, the staff has to become the talking points. Like, you have to say, hi, this is Julia. I'm just giving you a quick update. It's Sex Trafficking Awareness Month. Did you know, I'm just making this total statistic up completely. Did you know that 100 million men, women, and children are trafficked in the United States every year? To stop it, get alerts at blah, blah, blah. Like, you would have to be the face of the, TikTok, where you can't share people's names and faces. But sometimes that works better because people get an affinity for you. They get to know you. They get to recognize you. An organization that I love, they're called Amirah, AMIRAH. And their executive director is always doing Instagram lives and Facebook lives, and she's always giving updates and talking about the impact and sharing little anecdotes and stories. And you feel like you know her, you feel like you know the organization, and having that person as the face of the cause of the organization is really helpful. I think when I see it in my feed, I know immediately what it is and who she is and what they're about. So you might want to consider that. And you could also consider, making videos that are really just about, that are focused on the cause and the statistics and the impact that you're providing, and not necessarily on the personal stories, because you have 15 seconds to 3 minutes. So, I mean, you really have to be really compelling and grab that attention, but you don't have to do it in like a heartstring manipulative way. You don't have to be showcasing your clients.
Okay. Is there a good KPI for nonprofits when starting on TikTok? Should it be followers, views, getting on the For You page, or funds raised?
I wouldn't do funds raised in the beginning. I would do followers. I mean, I would just aim to grow followers and views, and get that momentum under you, because like any other social media algorithm, the platform sees that and they see you're consistent, you're showing up every day. I mean, you have posts on TikTok almost every day. That's another thing nonprofits get really stressed out about. It's just the nature of the beast. I mean, it's the nature of the platform. And I would really focus on building a community, building likes and shares. Like, that engagement on TikTok is it's very valuable. And it's a lot easier to get than on Facebook. It seems like pulling teeth on Facebook lately to get any engagement. I think people are just, I don't know if they're tired. I don't know if they're worn out of Facebook, but on TikTok, they want to be engaged. So views, all of those metrics that I always teach are vanity metrics. Those are good ones to measure actually on TikTok. And then you can work your way into a fundraising campaign once you've built this community and built this following. It's not the greatest place for email signups. A lot of the kids that don't have email, they don't get email newsletters. I've seen nonprofits try to use it for email signups. It's really great for just pure engagement and potentially fundraising small amounts when the time is right. So around like an awareness month, that's a great time. So Mental Health Awareness Month, or, American Heart Month. There's all sorts of months and cause awareness days that you can leverage to raise money, because people will be talking about it on the platform.
Mm-hmm. And we are pretty much reaching time. So we have, I believe, 2 more questions and then we'll wrap.
Okay.
So we have one on finding somebody who's best experienced in TikTok. Is there a good way to promote a job opening? Can you even post a job opening like on the app and find somebody there?
That's a really great question. I bet you could. I don't know if that violates the terms of service, so I would check with TikTok if posting a job violates the terms of service. I think the key with any social media job posting is that just because someone is young and just because someone has experience with these platforms doesn't mean they know how to leverage them for marketing and fundraising. So I would make it very clear that the person needs to have some experience or some interest in marketing and fundraising, because yes, you could be on TikTok all day, but as we all know, fundraising is a skill that you have to learn. Marketing is also a skill you have to learn. So I don't know about I would look up social media job descriptions. There's tons on like Idealist, and I don't know what sites are. What are like job sites? I don't know. I haven't looked for a job in a million years. I would look at Idealist. That's one that I know. TechSoup maybe. I would want someone that's curious. I would want someone that has great ideas. And honestly, I would ask them, name 3 nonprofits that you like on TikTok and why. And then you'll get a really good idea about sort of their thoughts. Or you could even ask them, and don't take these ideas and use them, but you could ask them, what are 3 ways you think that we could use TikTok to boost our growth, to boost our organization? And that's going to give you insight into their thinking and see if they're strategic, because you need to be strategic with this role, not just be posting all the time about nothing.
Oh, totally. We have another question about staying anonymous from an organization that works with clients who are fleeing domestic violence. Whoever wrote this question, I may need some clarification, but I think what they're asking, because they have to stay anonymous, so would content be best that focuses on the issue of the hand of VAW and more volunteer based?
Yes, I would use it to raise awareness around domestic violence, in terms of how to talk to a friend, how to approach a coworker, how to get help. I just think about what I did when I was a development director, because I also was the outreach coordinator. So I had to go and talk to churches and groups and workplaces and give them a lot of information for like their HR departments. So you could approach it in that way. You could approach it as, being the go-to resource on this issue for people that have questions. Also addressing myths and misconceptions around domestic violence. I don't think we do that nearly enough. I think TikTok would be a great place to, because the videos that you see where it's somebody asks a question and then somebody like answers a question. So I could just see a TikTok where it says like, why doesn't she leave him? This is just total. And then someone could say, well, it's very complicated, list the reasons. That could be a great educational TikTok. So I think you can do it in an educational way. And I think I know we're ending, but nonprofits need to understand that on TikTok, as on most social media, it's not about us. It's not about our agenda and our organization. It's about the cause. So not to make a TikTok that says, hi, we are, I know the organization I used to work for. We're Transitions Family Violence Services. We've been here for 60 years. No one cares. No one cares about that. But focusing on the issue, focusing on why is this a problem? What are we trying to do? What's our vision? And why should people pay attention to this? It's not about us really at the end of the day. It's about the cause. And that's going to rope people in to learn more about us, if that makes sense.
Totally. Well, thank you everyone for asking questions. Yeah, thank you, Julia, for joining us. It's always a pleasure. So for those listening, we have a lot of other content for you. I will be following up with an email. Julia was really generous by giving me a link to her podcast, and there's also a free course she has that helps you simplify your social media so you can get it done in 20 minutes a day. And all of us have worked really hard to actually create a TikTok guide that goes over content. We've interviewed nonprofits who've done really well on the platform, and we just have a ton of information in there. So like I said, I will be following up with a link to download that guide very shortly. So thank you all for listening. And thank you again, Julia, for joining me.
Yay, thanks, Sabrina. This was wonderful. Great questions.
All right, everyone, please have a great rest of your day.